Okay.
Very good.
This is my grandmother, Rita Lynch, and I'm going to ask her about her life today.
Good morning.
Good morning. What year were you born, on what date, and where?
Okay, in 1928, on November 7th, in Eau Claire, Michigan, because that's where my mother and father lived at that time, and I was born at home.
Okay. Where were you given the first and middle names that you have?
Okay, I think my mother liked the name of Rita. Her name is Marguerite, but my name is Rita, so that's kind of a part of Marguerite. And Lucille, I think I had some cousins or an aunt whose name was Lucille. Mary Hutton.
Yeah, I think you told me about that.
Right, I think Mary Hutton was maybe Lucille, and another cousin from my mother's side of the family, Lucille.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What was the house that you grew up in? How many bedrooms did you have? Bathrooms?
Okay, I grew up in a house in Eau Claire where I was born until I was in about first grade, and that was a big house, and I probably slept with my sisters. I can't tell you how many bedrooms there are in that house, probably 4 upstairs. And then we moved to Benton Harbor, and I ended up at 592 Pipestone Street, and that house had 4 bedrooms. And again, I slept with one of my sisters, I think my sister Catherine. Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, what was your bedroom like?
Well, if I shared it with her, I just had a dresser, and in those days, there were not many closets because people did not have clothes. So it was just a small bedroom. And there was a bathroom in the upstairs at that house, and that was a good thing because all of us were there. My brothers were in service, so they were not. My brother Bob and Bucky had gone to the Army. Yeah.
Okay. How old were they when they did that?
Pardon?
How old were they when they did that?
When they were probably 17 and 18 years old.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe the neighborhood you grew up in?
It was a very nice neighborhood. It was the next door people were Mr. and Mrs. Clary, and I think he was a state representative. And on the other side of the street, the house, my neighbor was Mrs. Bowlby, and she lived in a beautiful house on Pipestone Street, and the neighborhood was very nice neighborhood.
That's awesome. Tell me about your parents. Where were they born? When were they born? What memories do you have of them?
Both my parents were born in the 1895-96, and my mother was born probably in Chicago because that's where her mother and father were. But my father was born in the house that I was born in, and that was out in Eau Claire again.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Who was more strict, your mother or your father? Do you have a vivid memory of something that you were disciplined for?
Ooh, I don't remember especially being disciplined. I'm sure I was. But my mother raised us because my father was a bartender and he also was an alcoholic.
Oh, wow.
So he was not around very much. He slept during the day. And one time I worked at the hospital as a volunteer, and he walked me up to the Mercy Hospital and tried to tell me how much he loved me, and I wasn't very receptive to that.
Okay. How many brothers and sisters do you have? When were they born? What memories do you have of each of them?
Okay, my oldest sister, Fran, was born in about 1919, and I was born in 1928, so that's this span of what, 1928 to 1919, that's only about 10 or 12 years, right? And we were all born in that span of time.
Okay.
I had 4 brothers and 5 sisters.
1928 and 1919?
Right.
That's about 10 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of babies in that span of
Yeah.
time. And they were all born at home. You know, we didn't go to the hospital to have babies then.
Mm-hmm.
We had a midwife, but I don't know anything about that either.
Okay. Did you have any pets?
Yes, we had Irish setters. They were beautiful, beautiful dogs. Irish setters, yeah. And we probably got them from our neighbors in Eau Claire.
How many did you have?
Pets, just one at a time. But
okay.
I can't tell you even the name of the. I can't tell you the name of them now anymore. But beautiful Irish setters, and of course we lived in the city, Benton Harbor, so probably had to keep them, on a chain or something on the yard, right?
Good morning.
Good morning, girls.
Good morning.
What were you like as a child? What did you do for fun, and what was your favorite toys or games?
I lived in Benton Harbor on Pipestone Street, and I was the champion of the hang you hang your hands on the
Monkey bars?
monkey bars. I was good at that. And so I spent a lot of time up at the playground in Benton Harbor on Pipestone Street. Yeah.
What responsibilities did you have at home when you were young?
I did not have many responsibilities because I was one of the youngest girls, the three girls, Peggy, Cora, and myself. So we didn't have to do very much. It was all done by my older sisters. But I did wash dishes, and I can remember drying dishes. Of course, you had to wash your own dishes. There was a few of us that ate.
Yeah. What kind of school did you go to?
I went to St. John's. In the beginning, before we moved into Benton Harbor, I went to painter school, and my classmate was Tater Benson, a girl. She and I were the only ones, and that was probably what you'd call now kindergarten. Then we moved to Benton Harbor, and I went to St. John's Catholic school my whole life. And at that time, there was not tuition. I remember that my mother would take them maybe 2 quarts of tomatoes that she'd canned. And my dad lived on a farm, but he wasn't much of a farmer. But that's where I went to school, St. John's, and I graduated from St. John's in 1946. And I was not much of a student. I was anxious to get out of school.
I was going to ask you if you were a good student.
No. But we had nuns that taught. We took Latin and math, and I was not good at geometry. And yeah.
So that was your least favorite?
The least favorite is geometry.
What was your favorite?
My favorite probably was English. I liked that. And spelling, I was good at that. So if you're good at it, then you like it.
Yeah. Do you remember who your favorite teacher was?
I think my favorite teacher was Sister Marie John. And she was kind of a flighty person. One time one of the kids disobeyed, and she chased him around the room with the window pull, which is something that you used to close the windows because they were high up. And I think she even ended up having a nervous breakdown. I'm not sure, but she was my favorite sister. They were Immaculate Heart of Mary sisters, and we always had nuns then. Nuns that taught us.
That's great. What was the best gift you remember receiving as a child?
Oh, I can remember one Christmas. They would probably give us the same things, but we had a rocking chair for our dolls, a little tiny rocking chair that we got for our dolls. Yeah. And another favorite of mine, and I still have it, is that I got my grandmother's Bible, and I still have that. Yeah.
That's nice.
It's a treasure.
What did you want to be when you grew up?
I worked at the telephone company young, when I was 16 years old, and I probably thought maybe I would end up being the chief operator, but instead I got married and had babies.
Okay. What big world events do you remember from the time you were growing up?
Well, the biggest event was, of course, Pearl Harbor on December 7th. Would that be in 1942 or something? Earlier than that. But that was a huge, everyone remembered where they were and what they were doing when the Japanese attacked.
It's like 9/11. Everyone
Right,
remembers.
right.
What inventions do you most remember?
Well, the telephone.
Yeah.
We did not have a telephone in our house, so I had to go over to Mr. Clary's. And they kind of had apartments in that house, so you could just walk in the front door and you could use their telephone, but we did not have a telephone.
I remember you telling me that. When you were a teenager, what did you do for fun? Did you ever get in trouble?
Okay, for fun, we would all, somehow, we would get in a car with someone, the boys, Stanley Dukeshire and somebody else, and we'd go out to Crystal Palace. And Crystal Palace is in Coloma, and it was a dance hall, and that was wonderful, wonderful fun. Yeah.
Where was it located in Coloma?
Pardon?
Where was it located in
On
Coloma?
the east side over there by one of the marinas.
Okay.
Big dance hall. And we also went to Silver Beach. You could go to Silver Beach to the dance. And Silver Beach was a big amusement park where they had, rides and the fun house and, the mirror where you stand in front of it and you were skinny or fat and all that. Yeah.
When did you learn how to drive? Do you remember who taught you? And what was your first car like, and when did you get it?
Okay, I never had a car. I got married to Philip, and his mother taught me how to drive, and it was a clutch. So you had to put the clutch in and put on the gas and try to get it up the hill.
Buttons.
And that was difficult, but she was very patient. And then Phil and I think we shared a car with his parents or something. And we lived for a while with his parents, and then we moved into an apartment at Mrs. Clary's, right next door to my mother's. But I never had a car until after we were married, and then I could drive Phil's car. But
Okay, we're an adulthood. How did you decide what you wanted to do with your life? How did you feel about the choice?
oh well, number one, I just graduated from high school, and then I got married, and I had Patrick when I was 18 years old. So that's my choices were taking care of my babies.
Yes.
Colleen, would you hand me a Kleenex? Way down. Okay.
Okay. What was your first job? What did you like or not like about it?
Okay, my first job was I worked at the Fidelity drugstore, and that was a nice job. It was clean. I can't remember if we had to have uniforms or not, but down in the basement of the Fidelity drugstore, you'd open the door, and the cockroaches would just all run all over when the lights came on. Oh,
It doesn't sound very clean.
No, but that's cockroaches like food, and cockroaches have been around since ancient times.
Can't wait to take a little break and look at these kids.
Oh my gosh.
They're so cute. Okay. What job did you What job did you do most of your life? What did you like most about it and least?
Okay, well, I like working at the telephone company because I could walk from my house, and I was married by that time, so we probably lived on Cherry Street, but I could walk down to downtown to Benton Harbor, and you had to ring a bell to tell them who you were, and they'd open the door. And I was good at working at the telephone company as an operator. 16, 18 years old, Yeah.
What did you least like about it?
I just liked the interaction with people, and we had a lot of people that worked at the fruit market in Benton Harbor, and they would call, and they'd want to talk to people in Florida, take orders in Chicago, and I got so that you knew who they were. And when I worked at the information desk, you could open up that big book right at where it started with Williams, and you knew where it started with D for Dewan. I was good at information desk.
So it was like this big wall of plugs, and
Yes.
you guys are all
Yes.
lined up?
Yes. Yes.
You had a lot of friends in there?
Oh yeah, I had good friends but remember that I was married and had babies, so that was my main job, was taking care of my
Babies.
family.
How did you meet your spouse? What did you like about him? And how and when did you get engaged?
Okay, well, Phil Lynch went to St. John's to school, and he was 2 years older than I was. And he and his mother would always come to Mass in the morning, so I would see him there.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Had a little
And
crush.
then he decided that he liked me and I liked him. And the night I graduated from high school, I think we decided to get married. So that was young, and his parents weren't very happy about it because he was enrolled at Notre Dame, and now their boy is going to get married. But they were good about it. They didn't, not like me. So
That's awesome.
Mhm.
It is.
It is awesome.
We're married for a very long
Very
time.
young.
Mm-hmm.
You want to share how long you guys were married?
Well, probably almost 60 years, I think. Yeah.
Um,
Because we were married in 46 and he died in
I can't remember.
2013, I
I
believe.
think it was 2012.
Okay.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, I
How's
thought
my
it was-
time coming?
You got
Oh,
15 minutes.
8:34.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, because I need to get going.
Yeah, we can finish up another time if you like.
Yeah, let's do that.
What was your wedding like?
We had a nice wedding. My Aunt Lina found a wedding dress that she borrowed from her niece, who ended up being my brother Bob Dewan's wife.
Hmm.
And so that was the wedding dress.
Okay, we're gonna take a break.